I make music, all different types of music. This is some music that I've made right here, playing in the background. It's fun, you know, classical style. So that's something I've made. This is also some music that I've made. It's quite different. So one of those was obviously classical music, and the other one was what they call fake bit. But what we're going to talk about is just how to make chiptune music. Some people have been asking, and so I'm going to make a video showing you how I make my chiptune music, and I'm going to recommend the best VSTs to get started. You've got that stupid logo on the bottom. You shouldn't be living like this. No one should live like this. This is whokeys.com, where you can get a really good deal on a bunch of software, but namely Windows and Office. Where Windows Home or Pro. You can also get a combination of Windows 10 Pro plus Office 2019, or you can just get Office 2019 all by itself. So I'm going to grab Windows 10 Pro, and then we're going to activate it by clicking on Buy Now. The coupon code is TS25. See that 1875? TS25, apply. There we go, 1406. Once you've made your purchase, it'll redirect you to this page. If you lose this page, you can just go up here on the top, click on this, and then click on User Center. If it's taken a minute, you can just press the F5 button to refresh the page, and hey, there it is, View Keys and Codes. Then click on Get the Key. Here in the middle of the page, that is your key. Copy that, press Start, type Activate, and click on Activation Settings. From here, click on Change Product Key, paste it in there, click on Next, and you will be activated. Again, thanks to whokeys.com for sponsoring this video, and that coupon code is TS25. Grab some stuff while you're over there, Windows, Office, and get it activated. First thing we need to cover are the different types of chiptune music, and I would recommend sort of picking one for each song or each album that you're working on, and sort of sticking to it, because you're going to be drunk with options otherwise. And Nintendo only had a few channels. This is like, you know, the square wave. There we go. Now it's as loud as my voice. So that's your default square wave. And then, you know, you've got a triangle. Sort of a softer sound. They use that a lot for the bass. And then they would do different effects and things to make it sound different. And then you have your noise. So you can mess around with that and get a lot of different sound effects. But a lot of the old stuff was built basically on that. And if you want to stick to like the old school style, there are a few VSTs you can go with. Next up, there's stuff that's like more FM synth, like Sega. Some of the stuff that you would get with like an X68000 computer, and just some of the arcades and stuff. A lot of those used FM synthesis. With FM synthesis, you have more options, but it's going to give you that almost gritty, grindy, buzzy sound that a lot of people like me. I love that sound. So that's the other option. And then your third option is going to be more along the lines of like DOS type stuff, AdLib, MIDI, and Soundfonts. All right, so you have like the regular Nintendo, right? And that's going to produce sounds like this. You got pulse, you got triangle. That's like a square. Different shapes of the wave files, so that you can do that kind of stuff. And then when it comes to Genesis and some of those other different ones, you've got more of an FM synthesis, gives you that buzzier sound, and you have more options as far as the different notes go. Now the Super Nintendo decided to do something a little different. They decided, instead of just allowing you to use the internal sound chip, they would allow each individual game developer to create something called Soundfonts. So that's really the third major way to make chiptune music. You got your waves, you got your FM synthesis, and then you have Soundfonts. And if you want something that sounds more like Super Nintendo style stuff, you'll want to look into Soundfonts. And what that is they're very low quality, I guess. They're very compressed samples of different instruments. Drums, choir. Hear that Super Nintendo sound? So that's going to give you the Super Nintendo sound. And I'll show you my favorite VSTs in each of these categories, and then we can kind of play around with them a little bit. And I'm also going to show you a few different effects. So if you're wanting to get started for free, you can totally do that. And where I would go to look for that, well, first off, you'll need a program to do this. Femi Tracker is something that a lot of people use. If you're someone who does not have a background in music composition, look at this first and see if it suits your fancy. But this is not what we're going to cover in this video. That's just one way you can make them. The way I'm going to cover it is using your favorite music creation program. I'm using FL Studio because it has the best piano roll. It's the easiest one to place notes by far. And some of the other ones that are more expensive are nowhere near as good. Head over to Woolly. Good old Woolies. Woolly has lots and lots of 8-bit plugins, and you can get overwhelmed by this very quickly. There are lots of different sounds that you're going to hear. You know, the few that I really like are in a NES VST. It's very basic and gives you just a few NES sounds and allows you to create some of your own sounds. But Magical 8-bit plugin is going to cover most of your needs and give you really that sound. But you can download a few of these. They're just free VSTs and then throw them into the folder. Furthermore, while you're on the page, grab Peach here for free. So I'll show you what the Magical 8-bit sounds like. There we go, just a straight up square wave. You can change the shape right there. You know, like from a square to a triangle. Let's keep it. There we go, now triangle. Noise, That's a little loud, I'll turn it down. All right, so square, triangle, noise, right? You can come in here and just check out the presets to do randomize, but that's really all you need, just that. And then you can mess with your attack. So what that means is like how quickly it starts playing. You know, like hold it down now. If you want it to be like a very gradual fade in. There's your release time if you want to give it a little bit. There we go on the end. So cool. So let's just hear what it sounds like when we play something with it. Very easy to use, but it's almost so harsh that I like to put a filter on it. So just for grins, I'll show you what it sounds like with a, let's put it on channel 5, and I'll throw a quick filter on there just to show you what it sounds like. I'll use the SNES verb, even though we're using a Nintendo style sound effect. Gave a little bit of, still harsh. I'm going to put a very heavy reverb on this thing. Why not? Very nice haul. And I'm going to turn this down. It echoes like crazy. But now, let's see how this sounds. It's cheating to be using these reverbs. Not all of them. I don't think the SNES reverb is really that cheating because it's simulating the style of reverb you get from, you know, an SNES, but whatever. All right, next I'll show you the NES VST. I'll just replace this one with that one, NES VST 1.2, and it's very similar. You've got some settings here for just switching quickly to triangle and all that sort of thing, and Mono and Palo, Mono and Poly. And we can add a little portamento, which will essentially allow you to bend the notes. So portamento needs to be monophonic. So let's just have some fun here. Make a little, and I'll make this one be the lead. Let's turn it into a square, and then we'll make a little lead line here. All right. I'm doing a little bit of an overlap here on these notes so that the portamento can blend through. So that's a little fun. Okay, so that's those two. You can do a lot of stuff just with messing with those things. The portamento sound will really give you something that I think is kind of nostalgic for a lot of people. So, and you can go in and mess with these and change the sound effects and make them crazier and crazier. All right, let's move on to some paid programs. I'm just going to go to this one first. I'm going to show you some more free stuff when we get to the the Super Nintendo section. Really great free stuff. Lots of great free stuff. But this one, if you got 20 bucks, just get it. This is the one right here, Minibit. This is the one. It can simulate so many retro sounds. It's mostly in just the waveform synthesis style stuff. So it's not going to be good for the Soundfonts if you want to create the Super Nintendo style stuff. Maybe not, but I still like to use this for basses and stuff like that. It's just so versatile. I'm going to open this up and show you what it can do, but this also goes on sale for like $12, $13 every now and then. So whenever there's a holiday or something, check it out if you're not willing to pay the 20 bucks. It's absolutely worth it. It's the one I use the most when it comes to like needing that particular sound. So just out of the box, you know, I'm using the keyboard, by the way, to do this. Because my keyboard, my actual piano keys are not here at this computer. In case you're wondering where all these weird noises are coming from. So this one you can come in and quickly change. Let's try some different things. Ooh, E piano. So lots of cool waveforms you can mess with. But there's also lots of pre-programmed factory settings. You can also get other settings, open presets folders. You can create your own user settings and stuff too. But let's just go through a couple here. Harpy, there we go. So we have that. Now check this out. So we've got our cutoff rate right here. If I want to make this sound weird and interesting, you can start like making it waver. You can start making it have like a... Here, just watch what I'm going to do here. There we go. You can mess with all these things. Let's do 1/16th time. Okay. See how we gave it that little bounce? I want it to be more extreme, so let's do 1/32. Okay, crank up the rate. There we go. So we've got all that. And then glide is your portamento here. They called it glide. Making some monstrosity here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy over that that lead line I just did and see how it sounds. Sounds awful. Whatever. Let's bring it up a little bit. It's not loud enough, but you know, maybe if I give it a reverb, a little less glide. You get the idea. We're having some fun here. We got the sub oscillation going. Just going to do a straight up square. So that's fun. And you can do so much with Minibit. There's so many different sound effects in it. I'll just do maybe one or two more. Let me get a bass or something. Okay, there we go. May as well write a bass line while we're here. Why not? Why not? Let's have a little fun. I'll make the song. I don't know. So there we go. We've got that going. It needs a little bit more bass, so let's crank up the sub oscillation. Let's make it some... what do we want? Nah, it's not very good. Let's do just pulse 12%. Okay, make it that rough sounding. We can downsample this and we can do the bit crusher. Let's downsample it a little bit and make it sound crunchy. Distortion on there. Yeah, that's nice. How about it? All right, so let's just play it. So that's how you mess around with Minibit, and there's so much stuff you can do with it. This one's got pitch. Let's try that cutoff thing and see what we got here. Next up, there's a whole package of sounds that I've used a lot. And they're made by a company called Tweakbench. And if you scroll down here, you'll see some of the Tweakbench VSTs for free. If you click on here, you can download the zip. It's free. It's called Peach. Get it immediately. All the ones from Tweakbench, get those immediately. You can get them here. Toad, Triforce. This link is going to be in the description. Get these. In fact, if you just come up here on top of Wooly and type in Tweakbench, let me actually put this as a separate link, but you grab all of these. They are very, very good. If you come over to tweakbench.com, They now have them all, and they're bundled together. And they used to be free. I'm not sure when this happened. I just noticed now, but they're still free over here on Woolies. I think it's just like maybe they want you to. Oh hi, Wasai Shikai. I don't know who that is. I think they just want you to give them some money. They probably deserve it. In fact, I think I will buy the package just because I've used them for so many commercial projects. So I'm going to buy this, not on the air, but I'm going to buy this. I promise everyone I'm going to buy this. It's cool. But these are very handy. So I'm going to go through these quickly. This is Toad, one of the Tweakbench. It's just a bunch of drum samples. It's good, huh? All these sound effects. So anyway, it's what I use to just make this quick little... The bass drums could use a little more oomph, but you know, it's got that chiptune sound. It's whatever. So Peach is my favorite because Peach has lots of different sounds that just feel nostalgic for different games. Because, you know, with the Nintendo games, they all didn't sound exactly the same because the sound designers would tweak the different pulses and the different waveforms and stuff. And if you're talking about some of the more advanced games, they would do all kinds of tricks. Like Castlevania is kind of hard to believe that they created that with such a limited sound engine, but they did. So with Peach, you've got lots of different options, and you can see some of them are like Metroid, but it's like they're trying to emulate that sound that they were able to achieve with the chip. You have a whole bunch of different sound effects here. Let's listen to Wily. There's a bunch of Metroid ones. And then once you pick a sound you like, you can turn up the portamento, which again gives it that bendy quality. And you can also turn up the crush, which essentially crushes down the waveform. It just makes it staticky, and it's there's a scientific term that's eluding me at the moment, but that's fine. And you can also change the way the attack works. Turn up the sustain and the decay and the release. So even after I let it go, it takes a second to release fully. So anyway, I'm going to go back to which one's a good one? Release, maybe Raft, maybe. Whatever. Just solo it out so you can just hear that. Let's turn this down. Kind of a little ostinato on top. Not quite an arpeggio. But yeah, so that's something I did with Peach. And then here we have open up. Okay, this is rebar, and it has a little wave down here on the bottom that you can play with yourself. So you can turn up the delay, and then we have, this is really handy. It's quite a different way to do it. So you can mess with your sounds that way. Warp, if you're really getting into something weird, you might find this to be useful. That's hard to listen to, huh? So I'm going to turn warp down and delay down, and then you can just kind of come in here and make a waveform. I want something that sounds really sort of tinny. Let's listen to that same ostinato. And we'll put it down here into the rebar with this waveform I just made. Oh, that gives you an idea. There's also some presets in here if you wanted to listen to some of those. This one's, I use this one a lot because I like how it has this almost nasally sound that's good. It cuts through some of the other stuff. Well, it can. There we go. Let's just do this. What the hell? See what we make. So that's that. This is Moonmate, and this is what I use for some of the basses. It's really loud and really thick. glide instead of portamento, but whatever. Do that, and then you can just mess around with this until you get a cool sound. There's also some presets in here. Arp me. That one wants to be arped. I mostly use it for basses, but you know, whatever. Let's see how this sounds. That's high as the Dickens. So you can add some fun with that. Let's add a little bit of that reverb on there. Put the reverb on channel 4. Ritual. Got that lower oscillator going on down here, the LFO. You can sync it. You can add the depth and all that stuff. But you have a couple different oscillators and an LFO are over here that you can play with. See here, we can just mess with this thing, change the shape on one of them, make some weird sounding things. Not bad. We've got a sub that you can control here. There's your envelope here. You can bring the attack down, whatever. And then, of course, we do have some presets in there. So this one can be a little bit of fun. Give you some cool sounds. Wub wub, oh dear. So that's some of the Tweakbench stuff. There's the toad again from Tweakbench. Now let's move on and talk about the Super Nintendo and Soundfonts, and then we'll finish up by talking about FM Synth and Genesis style sounds, Mega Drive, if you're anywhere else in the world. This is Sforzando. Sforzando is a sound font player. But where do you get sound fonts? Well, I'll show you in just a second. Let me just open up one first to let you hear what it is. So we'll do something that everyone's familiar with. Secret of Mana, how about that? So inside of each of these Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games, there are lots of different sounds. And you can't just go grab packages of these sounds anywhere. Someone actually has to extract these first. So thank you to everyone out there who's extracting these sounds from the Super Nintendo cartridges, because these were created specifically for each game by the sound designer or by the composer. It's pretty awesome what went on with some of these. And people have extracted them, so let's just see what we've got here when it comes to marimba. We love marimba, don't we? Now see, you can hear it's a real sample, right? But it's kind of like medium-low quality. Let's try it out with our ostinato. It needs a little bit of that reverb. It was before that was just mini verb. Let's put on the SNES verb just to make it. So that's one of those sounds. Let's try one more just for fun, and then I'll show you where to get these sound fonts and stuff. So if you want to change it, you could just go up here and change it. Tubular bells, rock organ. These have more musical sound, but it's that signature Super Nintendo sound, really. You know? So, distorted guitar and all that. All right, so where did I get this? Where did I get these sounds? Let's look at it, shall we? First off, you need the player. Sforzando is the player. It's made by Plogue. So plogue.com. You can just type in Sforzando. All these links are in the description. I'm not gonna leave you sad. There'll be a link in the description for all these things, right? So now where do I get? All right, so William Cage, he makes music. And he makes very good Super Nintendo style music. I don't want to play it right here on the air, but I recommend you go check it out. I wonder if I probably could. Yeah, so William Cage, he goes and he extracts some of these games and stuff and gets us the sound fonts, and then he makes music out of it. It's pretty cool. This is a legal gray area. I haven't heard of anyone being sued yet, but it's legally gray as to who owns these samples. I would probably stay away from doing straight up Nintendo, maybe Square Enix as well. Like, I don't know if I would mess around with this. These are obviously not they're obviously remakes of the other songs. But you can grab a lot of the sound fonts here for these games that you see on the screen. And then there's another resource that has lots and lots more. And that's musicalartifacts.com. And you can come in here and just search for the sound format SNES formats SF2. That's a sound font. And we can look around for them and just download them. Put them in a folder. I usually keep them in the same folders as my VSTs, but I keep them in a sound font folder so I don't lose them. And there's lots of different sound fonts. You'll notice that it's not just Super Nintendo. There's also some sound fonts for maybe other video game systems or DOS and that sort of thing. And I love this PC98 sound fonts. And also the PC98 sound font for Eve Burst Error. The great soundtrack. Really, really cool soundtrack. Beyond that, we can get even nerdier and head over to archive.org. There's a bunch of different sound fonts. This sound font collection's pretty fancy. I'll miss that one. The Roland SC55 was a sound module that was used by rich people to make rich people DOS sounds. So it's a really good sound font, but it has a huge library of stuff. And if you want just like a general DOS sound font, then you can come over here and grab that. We've got a whole bunch of files here. Show all. Okay, so we've got all kinds of different sound fonts. You want the SF2 files, and you can read what they are here. And you can just search on here for other sound fonts, but you can make a lot of fun stuff with that. I don't think I'm going to spend too much time making any sound font music, but I've got a whole bunch of these here. So that's that. Let's show you what it would sound like with some DOS stuff. Chiptune sound font. Someone even made a chiptune. You can find all kinds of stuff. But yeah, this is a chiptune sound font. So instead of having the actual waveforms, someone made a sound font that sounds like the waveforms. It's a bit over the top, but why not? Let's check out Doom. All right, so we got distorted guitar. Nice. Yeah, that's fun. We'll just do one more. Roland SC55. If you're looking for different SC55 sound modules, the best one in my opinion is Emperor Griefers. It's just a really good sound font. You see we have all these instruments here. Now this is going to sound, like I said, rich people DOS. It's the DOS MIDI stuff. These are MIDI sound effects. So let's just get one going here with maybe a harpsichord. Yeah, sure, why not? Now some of these are going to sound better than you remember, and a lot of that's because the hardware that we used back in the day is not as fancy as the hardware today, and we have a bigger, I guess, just more information going into this, and we might need to crunch that down. So I'll show you how to do that, and we'll do just I wish I had my piano right here, but I don't. Ugh. Let's do a quick little thing here in C, of course, common time, and C major. There's another free VST. It's a bit crusher. It's just called Crush, spelled with a K, like Mortal Kombat. I guess so. So download Crush for whatever platform you like. I grabbed the 64-bit VST. You're not going to need all three of these. You'll just need the one that works for you. So I grabbed that. And this is an effect that's going to work inside your program. So I'll show you what that does. So this one here, let's put it on its own channel. 6, why not? And then I'll open up my mixer here and then go, and I'm going to throw Crush on this. So now I'm crushing channel 6. Where is it? Come here, Crush. All right, so this is my bit crusher. And you can turn it up here and just crush that down. And you can add drive if you want to, like, it's just going to boost it a bit. And this is going to make it sound a little bit funky. You don't have to put a filter on there if you don't want to, but I'm going to put a low filter on there again. Okay, that was annoying, but let me show you what we did. So we went from this. Let me just turn it off real quick. To this. Now it's a little bit staticky and stuff, so you might want to play with it a little bit. But once you get it mixed in with the other instruments, it might blend very well. And I love the fact that we also have low pass and high pass filters here, and that's going to be nice if you're trying to make a nice a mix that's not too muddy. And maybe this you don't want it to get in the way of your lead, so maybe put that filter on there so that it blocks out the high frequencies, or you don't want it to get in the way of your bass, so do it the other way and keep it away from that bass. But I think it's a little harsh on top, so and we can also hit the frequency where it turns on. I think we've played with that a little bit. But you can apply this to whatever track you like. I would not recommend applying it to like your master bus over here, but you can if you want to. It's your world. You can do whatever you want. All right, next up, let's talk about FM synthesis. Now, I like using Soundfonts for some of this stuff because the PC98 Soundfont does have some really good FM synth sounds, and there's some really good emulation going on. But when it comes to like actually needing FM synth, I look at Dext, because Dext, it works with a lot of the DX7 stuff out there. And if you're not familiar with the Yamaha DX7, it's one of the best FM synthesizers out there, like actual synthesizers. And it's right here. It even says it. Didn't even realize it was right here on the main page. But you can go online and get so many different sound banks, and there are lots and lots of video game sound banks that you can grab, like Batman from the X68000. Grab that sound bank. Grab whatever. Think of a game. You can probably go online and look it up. Just look up Dext sound banks, and you're going to find so many different options. Why not? This is Dext. It's going to look intimidating at first. But what I would recommend doing is going right down here to the bottom and clicking on cart. You can load up different cartridges. When you had one of the Yamaha DX7 synthesizers, you had cartridges you could plug in. And then you can download all of those different SYX files. Those are the different sound banks that you can get for this, the different cartridges. They're simulating cartridge, putting in there. So you already have a few things here, like we can listen to piano. A little bit of a buzzy sound. It's going to sound cleaner, but we'll put that bit crusher on there and it'll achieve something that's more similar to what you heard on the Genesis or whatever. Got a Dext folder right here and a bunch of banks inside here. I downloaded a ton of banks. Let's see what we got here. Cool. You may have to limit yourself to make sure that the sounds you're using sound like they came from a game. It sounds kind of like Sega Genesis type stuff, does it not? I could probably make a bass line and a lead with this one just for... kinds of stuff. I got tired of having to open up that directory again, so I'm copying my entire Dext folder into the stupid app data folder, which I don't like to do, but that way it'll be here on the list. It wasn't, for some reason, letting me navigate to that list and stay there, so whatever. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I'm in a hurry. All right, so I just threw my banks in here now. That's much easier. Oh my God. We got all these. Each SYX file is like a cartridge you put in, and you got all these different sounds over here. There we go. I'm going to put the crushing channel on both of these. So the last program I want to show you just kind of makes everything easy, but you're going to need to pay for it. It's Super Audio Cart. And I haven't used this one too awful much because I just got it. It was on sale for like $100, but ooh, you can get a free thing here. Super Audio Cart. Let's just open it up and show you. But it allows you to do almost everything I just showed you in one package. I would still buy this first. After everything's said and done, Super Audio Cart can do a ton of stuff, but I would still buy this first. And then if you're really serious, this one second. If you can't, use the free stuff and get by with that. Super Audio Cart is pretty cool though. You will need Contact, or you can use native instruments. You don't need the full version of Contact, so luckily you wanted to pay for that, but you will need to run this through Native Instruments Contact or something like that. Just the way it is. So this one allows you to do multiple layers, and then you can come up here and pick your system, and then I have a bunch of pre-configured sounds right in there for the systems. So there we go. We've just got our Atari 2600. It's a square wave. What do you want, right? The Commodore 64 had some really cool PWM sounds, like a lot more body. Some of these are good. Game Boy had a little different engine. Still to show all your different pulses up to the full square. Some saws. Triangles. great for bass. Here's all your Super Nintendo stuff, and it has simulated sound, or they basically created their own sound fonts, I believe. The benefit to using these sound fonts is the fact that they are not going to have any legal repercussions. They're going to be able to be used for commercial use or whatever you like without having to worry about Nintendo knocking on your door at 4 in the morning. A good can of French horn sound on Super Nintendo. And then of course you can use, all the different features that are in Contact. You can create different effects and stuff like that. That's all easy to do. Tune up all this stuff, add the vibrato. There's your envelope and stuff. So if you go to A, that's where you find all that. And so if you wanted to create like an arpeggiation sequence, you could do that here. There's a lot I haven't even played with this because I just got it recently, so know that. And then we also have our effects chain built right in here. And then here's our bit crusher if you wanted to use that. We can bring that down, turn the noise up and down. Possibly a better bit crusher than... You can control the noise, but still, So there's that. Let me just go back up to the system, show you a couple more. Now check this out. We have different layers that we can turn on. Little power button right here. So power there. Now I've got 2 different layers, and we can pan them left and right, and we can control the volume. So let's say on the up here I want that Genesis brass, and we just got a Game Boy triangle down here. Now I'm going to play both of those. It's going to do a multi-press. You can change the volume of each one. Just have a little background with that one. All the FX, let's give it a bit crusher and a bit of delay. Sounds terrible. But you get the idea here, and we can layer up to 4 channels right there. Mess around with it to your heart's content. Why would we do this? I do not know. Genesis, Game Boy, Commodore 64, and let's do Super Nintendo. Give me that Super Nintendo. Let's do some oohs, or yeah, there we go, brass, trombone, whatever. Let's just see what this sounds like. So this one can do probably more than the others, but still my first choice is definitely Minibit. It's just easy, quick, and has so many awesome sounds. It's going to get you making music almost immediately. I think we've covered just about everything here except for one more paid program. Chipsounds. Chipsounds is really nerdy, but it can produce a lot of different sounds. I should put it all the way at the end here, because it's this and Super Audio Cart. I would get these programs after you've looked at the other ones, after you've messed with the other ones. I end up using Soundfonts and the free stuff more than this, but this can be really handy for a few different things, and I'll show you. This does so much. You need to watch a full-on video of what it can do, but you have so many different just pure chip simulations, like all these different chips. What do we got? Any Yamahas down here? I don't know. See here. But yeah, you can, this one. So it simulates a lot of different chips out there. If you're very nerdy, this is going to be something you'll love. And it's got a lot of really good sound effects built in. I use it for distortion a lot. Sure. Anyway, I keep it, that's distorted with that pedal I was just showing you. There we go. This looks so familiar. That's too much information. Fun. All right, so TLDR, if you're willing to pay, get Minibit. If you're not willing to pay, get Tweakbench and a few of the other sounds I mentioned in the beginning. Start having some fun, start putting some notes in there. And we can talk about how not to make your mixes muddy and stuff like that in the future. I tend to make my mixes a little muddy because I don't like equalization. It takes too long. But I know how to fix it, but I just don't take the time to do it. Anyway, let me know what you think of this. If you're someone who's making chiptune music or likes to make chiptune music, let me know if this helped you. Hopefully it did. And if you have some stuff to share, please put it in the comments or just send it to me on Twitter. I'm always curious to hear stuff that you create, especially if you're making stuff that's out of this, it's going to be cool. I just know it's going to be cool. And if you want more pointers, like maybe composition. I know composition more than I know the software. Like that's more my thing, like putting music together. I'm not very good at the software itself. I kind of just do the minimum amount I need to do in order to make my music, but I know composition a little better. So if you want to learn about like some of that, let me know. Whatever. If you wanted video specifically on Nintendo or specifically on Genesis style sounds or FM synth or whatever, Soundfonts, and some stuff I made with Soundfonts, let me know. Maybe I'll do more audio videos. And thanks again to our sponsor. Hope you got your Windows activated. Hope your life is activated. This feels like an altar call at a church, but it's not. Bye, everybody.